What's up, everybody? We're back. Welcome to the Unofficial Pre Fight Show. This weekend, we have Blaydes versus Daukaus. Let's get started. This weekend, we have two top 10 heavyweights facing off in Blaydes versus Daukaus. And I gotta say, I was a little surprised when this fight got announced. Daukaus is coming off of that devastating KO loss to Derrick Lewis in December. And I didn't think they'd give him such a highly ranked, threatening heavyweight like Blaydes right after that loss. When I look at this fight, I do think Daukaus has the advantage on the feet. I think he has superior boxing ability. He's got really tight, clean, crisp boxing. He's also got a lot of speed. He's one of the faster heavyweights I've seen in a while. He throws his combinations and his shots together really nicely. That being said, though, stylistically, I think it's a bad matchup for Daukaus. Blaydes is a phenomenal wrestler. I believe he holds the record for the most takedowns in the UFC heavyweight division. And he's going to look to use that wrestling and grappling ability to really kind of dictate where this fight takes place. The only chance I see Chris having in this fight is if he can keep the fight on the feet, use his superior speed and his superior boxing ability to land consistent combinations and wear down Blaydes. Daukaus isn't really a one-punch knockout artist. He typically wears guys down with his speed and combinations and his superior striking ability. But I gotta say, I just don't see that happening. I see Blaydes' superior grappling, wrestling, leading him to victory in this fight. And we're gonna go with Blaydes. I also really like how Blaydes bounced back from his KO loss to Derrick Lewis about a year ago. He looked great against Rosenstrike in September. And I look to see him continue that winning streak and make it 2 in a row with a win over Daukaus this weekend. Next up, we have two top 10 flyweights facing off in Askrov versus Kai France. And I gotta say, I've been really impressed with Askrov so far in his career. He's an undefeated fighter. He's got one draw against the former flyweight champ, Brandon Moreno. And I could honestly see this guy being a UFC champ at some point in his career. He's a well-rounded fighter, got great striking, great grappling, great wrestling. He put on an absolute clinic in his last fight against Joseph Benavidez. And at this point, I don't see a lot of guys at flyweight beating this guy. Kai France, on the other hand, a bit of a UFC veteran. I think this will be his 9th fight in the UFC. He competed on the Ultimate Fighter show back in 2016. He's a great striker who seems to be consistently evolving and developing as an MMA fighter. Every time he fights, he seems to look better. He's on a 2-fight win streak and seems to kind of be, at this point in his career, fighting at his true potential and kind of entering his prime. That being said, though, as the old saying goes, there are levels to this game. And as cliche as that is, it's true. Askrov is just on a different level as an MMA fighter. I got to go with him on this fight. As I said, he could be a future UFC champ. So Askrov is the pick. Next up, we have two veterans facing off in Matt Brown versus Bryan Barberena. Both of these guys have a combined 40 fights in the UFC, have been fighting in the organization for a long time. Oddmakers have this an even fight, which I tend to agree with. I do think it's a pick 'em fight. Both guys are coming off of wins. They're trying to stay relevant. And the reality is, whoever loses this will likely be released by the UFC. I'm going to go with Matt Brown, though. He's got a 4-inch reach advantage. I think technically he's a better striker, and he's got more power in his striking as well. Both of these guys tend to keep fights on the feet. They're primarily strikers. And if this fight goes that way, I see Matt Brown getting the victory. He's got 17 KOs or technical knockouts in his professional career, and I think he gets the job done this weekend. So we're going to go with Matt Brown. And the last fight we're going to review on today's show is two heavyweights trying to keep their UFC careers alive. Olynyk versus Latifi. I'm just impressed that Olynyk is still fighting at the age of 44. This guy made his pro MMA debut back in 1996. We all know is the master of the Ezekiel choke and has 46 submission wins within his career, which I can only assume is some sort of a record. Then you got Latifi, who has had some ups and downs in his UFC career. The guy's fought at light heavyweight and at heavyweight. He's coming off of a split decision win last year over Tanner Boser. And, he's got the advantages in most places when I look at this fight. He's got the speed advantage, the striking advantage. He's more athletic. He's younger. Really, the only advantages that I see Olynyk having is, the guy's got crazy old man strength, which you can never underestimate. He's also got the better submission game as well. Really, the only path to victory for Alexei Olynyk in this fight is maybe he catches Latifi in a submission. I just don't see that happening. Latifi has never been submitted in his professional MMA career, and I just don't see it happening this weekend either. So we're going to go with Ilir Latifi for the win. It might finally be time for Alexei Olynyk to hang up the gloves and call it a career. And that is it for this episode of the Unofficial Pre Fight Show. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll see you next month.